Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, to what length will you go? Can you even go for to forgive someone who offends you? He hurts me, she abused me, they betrayed me, I can't forgive. These statements born out of pain of being offended by a colleague, a spouse, a relative, a child or friend sometimes prevent us from enjoying life, according to life coach experts. Well, they say everyone is susceptible to being hurt and hurting others. But when it becomes too difficult to let go, what do? That's the question that Beryl Richter put out there to the public. After that, we'll have a life coach and counselor, Amos Kevin Annan, who's of course in the studio with us to help us talk about how we can deal or to restore such broken relationships. Let's hear voices on the streets and then we'll continue the conversation from there.
The festive season is here with us once again. This period is a time to reflect, make merry and spend quality time together with family and friends. I'm sure during the year you might have offended somebody or somebody might have offended you. To what extent will you go to assure the person that you have forgiven him or her during this season?
I'm sure that I've also offended like so many people throughout the year. So first and foremost, I wouldn't wait for the person to just come to me. I'll reach out to the person within this season. Let the person understand that there's a season of love. Let the person know that it's not out of his free will that he or she offended me, but because of one or two things. And as I've offended other people, I also just go out, tell the person that just forgive me, let's forgive each other, let's live together, because it's a season of love. And for the fact that even Christ came to die for us, and through his birth he died and everything, I mean, he has forgiven us. So I would also reach out to the person. Basically.
If after you've done all this, the person still feels, oh, you've not forgiven him or her, what extra length are you willing to go to convince the person?
Okay, so it doesn't stop there at the first opportunity that you reach out to the person. You keep doing that. You try to take advantage of every situation that you get to reach out to the person. If you have to call somebody in and let the person understand, look, I don't have any grudge against you, and I don't also expect that you also have anything against me. So you keep doing it till you realize that you are fully convinced that even the person has also forgiven you, and you have also forgiven the person.
I think if you offend me, then obviously I'm going to give you an attitude, in the sense that the way I relate to you wouldn't be the same. And so if I want to give you the assurance that I have indeed forgiven you, then I think I have to close that gap and come back to how we used to be. If I used to check up, if I used to visit, if I used to call you, if we used to hang out, I think we'll go back to that state, but in a more cautious way, because I wouldn't want what you did repeat itself. So I'll just advise myself in a way that you wouldn't know, but I know deep down that I have forgiven you.
It's a festive season and we are all here to rejoice and be glad that the Savior is born again. So we are just together as one. Yeah, that's it.
How would you reach out to somebody who offended you?
I would just call out the person and just say, come on, I'm forgiving you. So let's have a new start and enjoy life, because life is very important.
I believe that one way you can show your forgiveness to someone is by giving to the person, because the Bible makes us understand that as God loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. So I believe that the best proof of showing your love or your forgiveness to somebody is by giving to the person. I believe that forgiveness is one thing that most people do not usually get over. So I believe one thing you can do is continuously pray for the person, because I believe prayer can actually solve all problems.
Well, look at the season. God gave his only begotten son as a gift. So if someone wrongs me, what I'm going to do is maybe give the person a call or maybe send a message that we should let bygones be bygones and just move on. Yes, I'm sure his only begotten son gave to us. So if you understand what Christmas means, then that is what I'm supposed to do. So let's go and move on.
I'll first wish the person a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year, because Jesus Christ has been born and then everyone is happy. And his birth is bringing good things, joy, happiness, love. So you're not supposed to harbor anything within you. I'll just approach the person when I meet her or him and just say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I think that's fair enough. If the person is also matured enough, he or she should be able to give me a good response, and then we roll it like that.
But what if the person feels the Merry Christmas is said to anybody, so he or she is still not convinced that you have forgiven him? What would you do to convince the person that have forgiven you?
You see, during this season, people go out to give gifts, receive some. So I might even make a little package and just give to the person just to show my love and then my forgiveness.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to put out the phone lines there. I'm going to do very little talking, and we'll ask you to call in. So the number is 0302-211-691 or 030-2211-692. Okay, so that's the number. I will put it on the screen. Do give us a call, and if you have a difficult situation, forgiveness situation, or broken relationship situation that you're trying or looking to mend, you can talk to the counselor here. The counselor is right here in the studio. Amos Kevin Annan said, thank you very much for coming to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
And Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
Thank
and
you.
Many blessed returns. I hope that the coming year will be better than
I'm
the
receiving
previous.
it all. I'm receiving it all. So let's start this conversation this way. First of all, we're going to allow our viewers to call you and ask for if any specific situation they're dealing with, the direction that you can provide, or the advice you can provide for any specific situation that they may be dealing with. But let's talk about forgiving people and using this. I mean, it's easier said than done. I've listened to the people. Some of them say, well, I'll just say, hi, I'll reach out to you and I'll say, hello, yeah, so let's try and mend it. But it's easier said than done. There are situations that are very, very difficult. What kind of tips are available?
It is true that when someone offends you or hurts you or does something that disappoints you, your feeling towards the person changes. Mm-hmm. You begin to review your relationship with the individual. Now, things that you could have easily done without deep thoughts or reflections no longer would be that way.
Isn't it a wise thing to do? Because if someone hurts you, you don't want to give them that opportunity.
That's the natural response. I'm sure you've heard of the famous statement, to err is human and to forgive is divine. Mm-hmm. And I always say that it is a convergence of the place of divinity and humanity. Okay. It's a duty call to the divinity in you to forgive.
Okay.
But it is the humanity that seeks to settle scores, that want to revenge and retaliate. So at every given time, we should ask ourselves, are we drifting into our everyday humanity or our base instincts, where it is that vengefulness is our lot? Or we are inclined towards our divine nature, especially those of us who believe in the creation story, that you are created by a divine God who is good and kind and gracious, forgiving and generous. These are attributes that will make an individual want to forgive, but it is not easy. Let us agree, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It requires work. It requires work.
A lot of work,
yes.
Which is why we're having this conversation in the first place. So first of all, there's a relationship between the hater, so the two people involved, which I'm going to describe as the hater and the hetty. Okay, so the
it
one
sounds like going for loan.
So there is a hater and there is a hetty. So let's keep that in mind as how we're going to describe the people involved in this conversation. So you said that it's not easy.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
That is it. It's a lot of
Help
work.
us. Now, we know that at the end of the year, people wrap up, they look at how the year has been, how the next year is expected to be, what their own expectations are. How can you use the season to mend these broken relationships?
Even for those who are non-religious, particularly non-Christian, because this season is basically a Christian activity. There is closure you are bringing to the year. In fact, some corporate organizations, their year has ended.
Yeah.
We're already in 2019. They've done all their assessments and they are now in 2019 already, waiting for 31st and the rest to come for some of us. So there's a need for you to look at your life and ask yourself, how many people do I not have goodwill towards? Because essentially, if you are not on good terms with someone, there's no way that you can have joy, as our network here offers us, JoyNews. You can't give them, because the JoyNews is the glad tidings. You can't give glad tidings to anyone. So there will be ill will between you and somebody else. If there is ill will, then it means there's an issue to be given attention to. So you have to admit something has happened, something has gone wrong.
But sometimes it's really difficult to know whether I've offended somebody, because not everybody will come up, and we do that a lot here in Ghana.
Certainly, not everybody will tell you that they are hurt.
And they would rather tell other people. and they'll rather tell it behind your back than face you and say, look, you did this, you did that, and I did not appreciate it.
So that's largely a cultural situation. Be that as it may, if that is the situation and you notice that the person is a bit constrained, previously they were forthcoming, outdoorsy, they're engaging, they're exciting around you. All of a sudden they're growing cold, they're pulling away from you, and sometimes they rebut so easily. When you make a comment, they undercut what you say and all that. Clearly, it shows that there's some foul atmosphere emerging between you and the person. So what you need is a private conversation with the person.
Okay.
Try to understand what's happening. Sometimes the processes that are going on in the mind of an individual can be a volatile situation.
What about those who are so good at hiding it, that they'll play along? Be nice. I mean, they will still be the same person that they were before you hit them. So you don't really see. It doesn't even give you the opportunity to begin to want to reach out and find out what has gone wrong, because they don't show that anything is
Emotions are such that you can't keep it under wraps for a very long time. It will soon give you away.
Okay.
Something will happen that will make you blow over the top.
Okay.
And so it's important that we don't hide these things. If I feel hurt by something you said, something you did, something you said about me to somebody else, which has come to my attention. For you who have received such an information, you'll be hurting the more because you know the offense this is generating inside you. And the turbulence is within you. The other party may be having a field day and enjoying themselves because they don't know they have hurt you. So you who feel hurt have a duty to engage this person, to bring it to their attention.
Okay.
And you've got to do it in ways that does not come as accusatory.
Okay.
You're coming to lambast
So let's begin with the tips.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a lot of work.
The first tip
is that makes it easier.
Admit that is a lot of work. It requires dedication.
Okay.
It requires you to be committed to the process.
Okay.
Secondly, you have to identify the offense. What you can't identify, you clearly cannot resolve.
Okay.
And then, secondly, assess the extent to which you've been hurt. Because sometimes the hurt goes beyond two parties.
Okay.
There are other parties that are involved. There are individuals who may have become privy to what they ought not know.
Yeah.
And so it means if you're going to deal with it, you've got to include them in the process of mediation and restoration.
Is it always necessary?
It is necessary. I mean, especially when third parties are aware of the injury.
Okay.
You can't ignore it.
Okay.
And when the issue is resolved, those third parties need to know that you've resolved the issue.
Okay.
Otherwise, they'll be fighting your battles. I mean, it may be battles that you have actually terminated. You've called a truce, and there is peace. Olive branch has been extended to each other. And yet the other parties don't know that you've called a truce, and there's no more feuding factions. And they will still fight.
Okay.
They'll be stoking the embers of fires between the two of you where there shouldn't be any. So there's a need for you to look at the extensive nature of the...
Who else is involved?
Who else is involved? You've got to identify those parties.
Okay.
Then also, once the issue has been identified, now you find time to sit to talk.
Okay.
That talk must begin with you. Self-talk starts. Assure yourself that you want resolution. Some people don't want resolution. They actually are coming to make you feel guilty. They want to offload their pain.
I like to make people feel guilty because
Why? Why?
Because sometimes it becomes necessary to make them feel that what they did was wrong, and the best way to do that is to make them feel guilty. Is that a good thing? Is that a healthy thing?
Making somebody go on a guilt trip means that you've got to find remedial measures to ensure you cure their guilt.
Is that your responsibility to cure their guilt?
It is partly your responsibility.
Well, that's supposed to help
them. Like you heard one of the ladies, she says, you forgive the person still feels you have not forgiven them. And that means that there's still some residual effect of the pain and the guilt the person is harboring. So there's a need for double assurance, quadruple assurance. And some people want to hear it. Others want to write it. I have forgiven you. But they won't open their mouth to verbalize it. Others too will verbalize it, but they won't show it. The way they conduct themselves, the lady said, I'll give you attitude. She has forgiven you, but she's giving you attitude.
Okay.
Clearly, a person who is not only looking at listening to what you have said, will now be looking at what you're saying. They will say that, I mean, what you're doing. What you're doing is so loud that what you said pales into insignificance. So you've got to let your lifestyle and your lips become consistent.
Okay.
So what you say, deliver that. And what you're delivering, assure it.
Okay. So let me announce the numbers again. Now, you can give us a call. Counselor is here. If you have any questions, you have any specific situation you want him to help him, you want him to help you deal with, just give us a call and let us know. That the number is 0302 2116 or 0302 211. Okay, hold on. I made a mistake. The number is 0302 211 691. Okay, that's 0302 211 691. Or you can also call on 0302 211 692. That's 0302 211 692. Who has hurt you and how can you deal with it? So I think that these are general areas of the forgiveness system, right? But again, the question is, it is a merry-making season. At this point, people are looking to invite people over. People are having visitors, etc. People are going out. How can you take advantage of this season to mend relationships?
This is a beautiful time for us to amend our ways, first and foremost, and build bridges with people. Where there have been wedges between you and others, this is the time to lower those wedges and create a bridge so that party can confidently and comfortably walk to you.
Okay.
And you can also confidently and comfortably walk to that individual. It could start from your home, the domestic setting.
Okay.
Parents may be at each other's throats. Children have been watching. It's the time for the children to see that there is peace.
Okay. Let me interrupt you briefly, Counselor, because we've got some people who have specific issues that they want to deal with. Abdul Malik is calling us from Bolga. Mr. Malik.
Yes.
Please go ahead. Thanks for calling and Merry Christmas to you. Go ahead and speak to the Counselor.
Oh, okay. Yes. I want him to help me in this decision. You have your wife, and in your custom, I'm a Muslim.
Can you speak up? Can you speak up a bit, Mr. Malik?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
I'm saying that if you have a wife and you're a Muslim, you're supposed to marry 4.
Mr. Malik, you need to reduce the volume on your set, your TV set.
I reduced it completely.
You did? Okay, go ahead. Let's see how this goes.
Okay. So you have a wife. Yeah, it's reduced completely. So you can hear me now. Hello?
Hello, Abdul.
Okay, we lost Abdul there. Please, when you call us, do kill the sound on your TV. You need to listen to us through the telephone. That makes it very easy. Otherwise, it's very difficult for the counselor to hear you. I can't hear you either. And the people who are watching us from home cannot hear you as well. Gloria is calling us from Sunyang. Gloria, what's the issue? Merry Christmas, by the way. Hello, good afternoon.
Sorry, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Gloria.
Gloria, we're listening. You're on air.
Okay. Please, I'm having a problem. It's like I offended my uncle some time ago. And then he said he has forgiven me. But it's like the way he used to be with me is not like the way it is now.
Used to be, okay.
So I don't know whether he has forgiven me or he hasn't forgiven me.
So Gloria, you want to find out how you can be sure that your uncle has actually forgiven you?
Yes.
Okay, Gloria, Counselor has noted your question. He'll answer. Just keep the phone, just keep the dial right here and listen to the answer in a few minutes after we've taken some other calls. Evans Ando, best part of my surname. Evans, Merry Christmas. You're calling from Kumasi. What's the specific issue?
Oh, Merry Christmas to you, and my name is. Yeah.
Yes, go ahead. You're on air.
Yeah. What I want to say is, sometimes you do have problems with one. Like I have a problem with my ex, my former wife, and then but whenever I call to ask of the baby girl, it's like she wants to insult me, and I don't know how to come over it.
Okay, so you want to find out whether you can do something about that relationship during this season.
Yes, please.
But why did you have to break up though?
Pardon?
Why did you have to break up though?
Oh, I traveled and she cheated on me, so we have to went to court about that issue.
Okay. Well, keep listening. Councillor has taken note of your question. He'll give you an answer, an advice, his perspective on this issue. Abdullah is from Tamale. And after we take Abdullah, we'll take some answers for the 3 questions, the 3 calls that we've picked. Abdullah, please go ahead.
Yes.
Councillor is listening to you. Merry Christmas. We do. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Very well, we
Yes,
do.
we
Loud
can.
and clear. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. For me, I want to see relationship beyond social relationship, and for that matter, I will want to go beyond this. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying that for me, I want to see relationship beyond social relationship.
Okay.
So I want to include all perfect relationships, be it family, be it friend, whatever, and not necessarily social relationship that leads to marriage and what have you.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at relationship. It could be professional, it could be family, etc. Do you have a specific issue that you want the councillor to respond to for you?
Exactly. You know, I appreciate all that is going on, but sometimes, sister, it is difficult for one to forgive somebody. When especially you get to realize that the fellow deliberately is deliberate.
Did that happen to you? Is that something that happened to you?
Yes, that's what I'm coming up.
Okay.
Let me come up.
Yeah, let's make it quick so that the other people who are on the line can also share their concerns.
For example, you go for a contest, a political contest. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Then somebody deliberately go around, tell people, destroy you, tell people that this man is this, I have done this. For example, somebody who works with NCC, you go for a political contest, the fellow contested you at primary and lost, and went around and told the whole electorate that you, the one who won the election, went and dismissed that fellow from NCC. And that one had gone to affect you to the extent that every literate in Ghana knows that you, that fellow, has no right to dismiss anybody, but it is a law, it's entity. I don't see how you forgive a fellow.
Okay, so you're talking about politics and when... Did someone do that to you?
Yes.
Okay, so you want to find out whether you can forgive the person, or you are saying that it is for you, it is difficult to...
I am saying that some forgiveness, like the lady said, the uncle said he's forgiving him, but she's not seeing it. Exactly. You may openly say you are forgiving, but deep in the heart, you can hardly forgive that fellow.
Okay, well, Ms. Abdullah, thank you very much for your question as well. Let's take a response after Francis Obeng, because I don't want to keep you waiting, Ms. Obeng. You're calling us from Kumasi. Ms. Obeng, what's the specific issue?
Yes, madam. Yes, the issue has to do with your discussion.
Okay.
With regards to mending on broken relationships.
Okay.
My question is simple. How can a man forgive the wife?
Okay.
Who has been shown, or indication has shown that there is an action of promiscuity. Why the aftermath of the discussion, you still also know that the woman is not showing any remorse, but rather expressing emotional regret. So how can we forgive out of emotional regret without proper
apology?
Yes.
Okay.
Not apology necessarily, because one can apologize on certain matters, but without really coming out from the bottom of the heart.
How do you know the person is not coming out from the bottom of the heart?
Probably it might be, the demeanor of the person, the action of the person, and once, of course, you've related to that person, you probably know the action, the reality of how she expressed, certain things.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Obin, keep watching. And we're taking your responses from the counselor now. So someone has an uncle situation, someone has an ex situation, an ex who is verbally abusive. He said that he left the relationship because she cheated, first of all. And then you have someone who's talking about politics. In the yes, in politics. How do you forgive your political opponents? And someone talking about promiscuity. After your partner has been promiscuous or has been perhaps involved in someone else, how do you forgive? If, especially, they are not showing signs of remorse. I
think we've already said that forgiving another is a difficult chore. And it doesn't come easy unless a person shows commitment to do so. Now, let me take Francis, for instance. He's talking about the person showing emotional regret, and he feels there's no remorse. You see, it's interpretation. The person may have gone all out to apologize, and that's all they can do. But what they cannot do is to convince you that they are remorseful. Because that is your choice. That's your duty.
To accept
what, that's where you have to be gracious.
Okay.
You know, sometimes we want them to do beyond what they have done. And we become overbearing and unreasonable towards those individuals.
And they're looking at themselves and they're thinking, what else can I do to make you know that I'm really
frustrated.
sorry?
They're asking you, what else must I do? You say nothing. And then if this suffices, why are you not embracing me?
Okay, so let's help Francis.
So Francis needs to help himself to come to a point of admittance that the person has shown sufficient remorse within their power to do. They may not have done it the way you would have done it because we're different people. Now, secondly, you've got to, if you are willing to accept her as a person with her shortcomings and even this situation that you talk about as having been promiscuous, you can forgive the person.
Okay.
It's a choice you make.
So, Francis, this is a choice you have to make.
Yes.
You have to make that choice to open up and allow it and let it go. And you can use this season, Christmas season.
This season is a very to patch up.
To patch up. Yeah. That's what counselor is saying.
But you must also understand that it's not the same as forgetting. Sometimes people construe forgiving to mean forget.
Right.
So they say forgive and forget. I can understand that, but when the scar is there, when you're injured, I have lacerations on my body parts, and the scar is still there. It gives you a memory that something happened, and that reminder can be hurting.
And that can help you to be careful?
It can also help you to be cautious, so that you don't get into a state of being, complacent. Yeah. Now, let's look at...
So for everybody that's going through what Francis is going through, this is a word for you.
Yeah. For Abdullahi, who has been man-slunged by people who were his political opponents, the way we do politics in Ghana,
this country,
it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. Something that unless they wound you with sticks, you're not hurt sufficiently. And words, but words can damage people.
Yeah.
And words are such that once spoken, it's difficult to gather them back. And the effect of our words, when people take it in and they process same, it injures them fatally. And so it makes it difficult for people who were otherwise friends to even become friendly again.
Right.
Because they've been so damaged beyond repairs. And especially where it becomes litigious.
Yeah.
You just get into the space where in the law court, defamation and all those things are brought against you. When you've done this and you've been giving whatever reward in return, how do we become friends?
So how do we help Abdullahi?
So they say Ghana politics is dirty. And I always respond by saying it's only dirty when it's played by dirty minds. Now, that's the extent to it. Elsewhere, it's very civil, very, very civil. So of course, people get overboard, and those can be accepted.
There are still a lot of people who I'm sure want to speak to you. So we want to make these answers quite brief, so that we can get a lot more people. So for Abdullahi, from what I get from what you're saying is...
He needs to accept that politics in Ghana, this is how they've been doing it.
So he should, as much as possible...
like that forever.
So as much as possible, he should try
create a certain shock absorbers in himself. I mean, that's the only way you will survive. I mean, we know most of our astute politicians who've gone very further than many people have been man-slunged over the years. And those things have been smeared on them, all kinds of stuff. And they've survived those turbulences.
Okay. So for Abdullah, he should just see it as a part of it.
Take inspiration from those
who have been through it.
Because your forebears have left a certain legacy.
Okay.
Walk those pathways.
So it's happened before. As much as possible, try and de-emotionalize.
I mean, if you have somebody like what's the name, Mandela. They call him Madibo.
Madiba.
Yeah, Madiba. Yeah. You know, look at how gracious he was. I mean, being in Robben Island is no joke. If you've visited that place before, I mean, you know how it is like.
Well, it looks nice. When
now, I mean, that's now.
Nice
but to be there alone, I mean, Robben Island.
Okay.
The island itself is scary.
Right.
To be alone, you know.
Shock absorbers will help you. This is politics.
It's politics.
Abdullah,
I mean,
this is politics.
That's what happens.
Okay. So let's look at the lady with the
insulting.
Exactly.
Sometimes these things happen because the divorce processes was very acrimonious.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of bitterness. And the bitterness, the least opportunity you get, you vent. So you can't help the woman as she's in the States now.
Okay.
Somebody else needs to help this woman so that at a later stage, the child doesn't suffer. It becomes worse when the child resembles the father. Because anytime they see the child, they see the father.
So what should this gentleman do?
So he cannot do much about her insults, but he should just take it in his stride.
Okay.
And understand that perhaps she may be bitter, she may be aggrieved, she may still be in pain, and he should see this as a cry for help.
Can he invite somebody in to talk to this woman?
And now that they have parted, it's difficult to convince.
I mean, indirectly.
Indirectly, well, maybe somebody who knows the lady.
Yeah.
He can appeal to that person to mediate on the score of the insults.
Okay.
It may work, it may not work.
Okay.
Because sometimes the people may go and it would actually stoke the fires and you get more fire.
Right.
You know, so
but there's something that you could do. I've forgotten the name, but there's something you could do. I mean, this is Christmas. You could get somebody, you know, be very nice. I think be nice. Very nice.
I mean, when you're going to give a gift, I mean, let me just say, you know, gifts are very powerful things. You're going to give gifts to your child, your daughter. Send a gift to your wife as well. She's an ex-wife. She's not an enemy. She was your lover. Show a higher level of maturity.
Okay.
Show you are more in charge than you being a victim of anger. Because you can also try to revenge by doing other things that may hurt her.
Okay. One more.
Now, uncle. Gloria. Yeah. Gloria has a problem with her uncle, and she says that the uncle has changed. I did mention earlier that you should expect people to change.
Yeah.
Once they are hurt, they are going to change their steps, they're going to change how they engage you, they're going to change their attitude towards you. So the change is very regular.
Okay.
What you don't do is once you have asked for forgiveness and he has told you you are forgiving, don't go on a guilt trip. Grouping through the darkness, finding and nitpicking and trying to look for things that do not exist.
Yeah, he did this and he did that and he did this and it doesn't even show like he's forgiving
Uncle used to call me 4 times in a day. Clearly, there's been hurt. It's a process. Let him get over it over time. But if you want it in one day, it's not going to be.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, Gloria, so there is it for you. And anybody who has a situation similar to Gloria's, give it time. Give it time. But in Christmas, obviously, you can show that you are indeed very remorseful. Let's take a couple more calls and get some answers. Abdul is calling us from Tamale. Oh, looks like we lost Abdul there. Sorry, Abdul, you can call back. But let's go to Wale. We have Sami on the line. Sami, Merry Christmas to you. What's the specific situation?
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you all at JoyNews too. Thank you. I'm listening to the program and I think it's very, very interesting. One of my brothers called earlier on to talk about the forgiving and the others. And then listening to Kelvin, Mr. Kelvin, he may mention that, oh, you can forgive. And when you forgive, it doesn't mean you have forgotten or something like that.
Yeah.
That sort of this is not there. My problem is that we have a situation, you live, or let me just use my personal
let's make it brief so that the other people who want to share can also do so.
All right. So in this case, you are with a lady, and then the lady keep on lying to you. lying to you always, and you find out that everything he says is lies, such person, how do you stay with that person if you're not that type that can move on with someone who is lying?
Who keeps lying? Okay. Okay, so lying, that's it. Thank you very much for calling. Abu Jamal is calling us from Tamale. Mr. Jamal. Okay, it looks like we've lost Jamal again. We'll keep your calls coming. But let's speak to this.
Yes,
oh, Jamal is there. Hold on. Okay. Mr. Jamal, you're there?
Yes, please. Good evening.
Right. Merry Christmas to you. What's the specific situation you want the counselor to help with? Go ahead, Mr. Jamal.
Okay. I'm going to make a contribution, not a...
Okay, go ahead.
The contribution goes like this. In our Islam, we believe Jesus Christ was a prophet.
Okay.
And in Quran, they said, if you forgive, you, the two people, will not see Allah the day of judgment.
Okay.
But in forgiveness, it's difficult to forgive. That one is difficult to forgive. So what I'm just adding is that even in fasting, during the time of Ramadan, we're going to fast. That is good for you people to forgive each other before you start fasting. Other than that, God will not accept your fasting. And you know, we normally go hunger.
Okay.
So it's difficult to forgive, but in prayers, you can forgive each other. But
Okay.
my last thing is I want to greet my noble chairman from the Nono region, NDC, Simon Mobla. I greet him and wishing him Merry Christmas.
Okay, thank you very much for calling. I'm sure your chairman has said you. He should be proud of you. And so the point he's making is that he just wants to throw this in that if you, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, there are some religious observations that should help you to forgive people because it's not easy, but those are religious observations that should help you, prepare you for forgiveness. Frank is calling us from Oda. Frank, any specific situation you want the counselor to help with?
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you and the counselor.
Thank you.
Yeah, please, my specific issue is I have a boss at work who every quarter we have an award we give to every staff who has performed exceptionally in terms of offering our customers with good service. And with this award, we usually nominate, staff can nominate or just point out somebody he or she has been good or qualified for that position, or that reward, let me put it that way. And my name was mentioned, and my boss categorically stood in front of everybody and said he has personal issues with me, so he won't allow me to get that reward.
Oh.
And true to his word, for almost 2 years now, he has never given me that award. Even new staff who comes to the branch get those awards.
Okay.
I don't know, so how can I forgive this man and still have that cordial relationship with him?
Okay. Frank, keep watching. And I'm sorry to hear that, but the counselor, I'm sure, will have some words of wisdom for you. Let's do Jerry, who's calling us from Takwa. Mr. Jerry.
Good evening, madam, and
good evening.
So much thanks for being part of this program. First and foremost, Merry Christmas to you and your facilitator.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Please go ahead. We're listening. Any specific issue you want him to help with?
Yes. First and foremost, let me say thank you so much and for allowing me to be part of this program. I want to say that, you know, the world has lost something called Christ because we build relationships by way of knowing God.
Mr. Jerry, we'll have to make it very brief because there are lots of people on the line. They all have things to share so that everybody will have a piece of it.
Yes, it will be brief. All that I'm saying is that because we have separated ourselves from the attributes of God, that is why we go through challenges that we're going through, you know, in this life. So that is what I will want to say.
Okay.
Yes.
So yours is a contribution.
Yes.
Okay.
Because people have neglected the very attributes of God.
Okay.
And therefore, if you forget about the attributes of God, you cannot make any relationship work ever in this life.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your contribution, Mr. Jerry. Let's go to Kumasi. We've got Wilson Ando. A lot of Andos are calling today, aren't they? Hello, Mr. Ando. Merry Christmas to you. Your specific situation. I'm not doing bad at all. I'm sure you're good.
Yeah, Merry Christmas too.
Thank you.
Please, what I was the point I want to make right now is my own is similar with the other Andrew who called. I have a baby girl which we separated from from the lady. And where my baby girl is attending school right now, I have a friend whom I attended university with. He's a teacher to my baby girl. And when my friend asked my baby girl her name, she said her name is Miss Kwasiampeni.
Oh.
So I asked, my friend called me, and then I told her my baby girl's name is Tracy. I don't know why she's been. Then when he confronted my baby girl, she was prompted me that that's what the name that the mother used to call her in the house. As Mr. Kevin rightly said, because my baby really resembles me. So whenever she sees my baby girl, it's like that's trying to bring me back, not even sending money to the baby girl.
Oh. But that's your responsibility. Taking care of her is your responsibility. You cannot run away from that.
Yeah, it's my responsibility, but it's very painful giving money to somebody and when I pay your rent.
No. You owe her that, irrespective. You owe her the responsibility of her upkeep. That's basic. That's fundamental.
It's
okay.
Madam, it's not easy. It's not easy.
I understand. But I mean, I'm just saying that because the question is going to be taken up. I mean, your situation, you get the response from the counselor. But the point that I need to make clear is that your child is your responsibility and you must take care of her.
Okay.
Okay.
So the point I'm making is I'm even thinking of reducing the money that stopping one or two things that I used to do for them, like paying the rent, light bills, and all those things. Like for the baby girls' money, I'll be sending it.
Okay, we'll get your response from the counselor as well. So keep watching so that you get. And I'm really sorry about the situation. Thank you very much. And I'm sad that they're all called Andos and they seem to be having a similar situation. We'll pick the last caller, and then we'll take the list of answers because counselor here is doing a very good job listing everybody, the name and the problem. Osman Dawood is calling us from Wa. Mr. Dawood, Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you and your counselor.
Thank you. So what's the situation?
Actually, I also want to thank you for your good work done. But my situation, I think, if you have an uncle who happens to, you have an admission for a school, this uncle deny you that admission, and rather when bought your mama can move for you to be driving, then and at the time that the admission, the admission came, he was having one, but he denied you to give you that money for the admission, rather used it to buy Mahama Kambu. So this uncle, now if you don't go to school and later on you now happen to go to school, and this uncle happen to be in sickness, will you help that uncle or will you be in unity with this uncle? And let me also use that to say that I think it is good that we all try to forgive each other. No matter the circumstance, that is why we ask for God for forgiveness. If you know you can't forgive your fellow human being, it means you don't want God's forgiveness. Thank you very much.
That's very good that you add that to your comments. But Councillor is here. He'll deal with all of that. So, Councillor, here we go.
Well, I think
don't
that
know where you want to start from.
Jamal, who mentioned the fact that you need to forgive others before you start your fast, is a very important point to make because you are aspiring for a journey towards divine help. Why then do you constrain yourself with your fellow human being?
Okay.
And all forms of religious beliefs practice same. So it's important that we keep that. And I like what Osman has just also concluded. He said we must learn to forgive each other. And if you look at what Beryl did in the Vox Pop, you notice that one gentleman was saying, I offend others, and therefore when they offend me, I also find humility in myself to forgive them. Sometimes people hold a high, moral posture, and as if they don't go wrong.
But we're all human.
Exactly. So that's why to err is human, and to forgive remains divine. Now, Sami is talking about a lion prospective wife. Now, lies repeatedly has to be engaged. You've got to engage it because sometimes people are lying to protect themselves. other times too, they are lying because it's become a pattern of their lifestyle.
Of their lives.
So
and
that's
they
a
don't even
character
see anything
issue.
wrong
That's
with
a
it.
character issue.
Okay.
Now, so if you assess the lies and it's a character issue, it's a red flag.
For marriage?
For marriage.
Okay.
Because what marriage does is that it's an amplifier. Marriage won't cure existing lies. It will actually make it more complex. So it's a red flag, and you want to advise yourself in relation to that. If you can live with it, fantastic.
Okay.
Some people, you lie 100 times, they'll forgive you 100 times. Others, you lie 2 times. That's the last.
Don't try lies
Don't
with
try,
me.
yeah.
I can't stand it.
Okay.
Okay.
Then Frank's case is quite a precarious one.
Yeah.
Why? Because this is your boss who has stood publicly and made a statement that he has a personal issue with you.
But is that even professional?
Clearly, it's not professional.
Right.
But it can show the extent to which they are aggrieved. And this is power play. He's using his power to ensure that
Which
he
is very
strangulates.
unfair.
It's unfair. You don't treat anybody that way.
Yeah.
So I would admonish Frank to find some good time to go to the boss. Because he has heard it publicly being stated. It's different if you haven't heard it being said.
Yeah.
You know it now. Go and try to understand from your boss what occasioned this personal issue.
Okay.
Don't go to try to justify things and to rationalize what you've done. Just go with a humble heart to listen and to learn.
And Christmas and the New Year
season. This is a good season. This is a good season. Cash in on it.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong in when you take advantage of a good season such as this to merge broken relationships.
So Frank, there you go.
Wilson is being denied his respect, and he's being called something Kwasiampeni, which is like somebody who is a villain or somebody who is
so his daughter goes to school and he's asked what's the name. They also say Kwasiampeni because apparently that's
what
how
the mother
mom,
is using. You see, I mentioned that when people are embittered, usually those who are closest to you is where they obfuscate their pain and frustration. So this is a clear case of such. But Wilson has a duty to the child.
Yeah.
The child didn't occur by a magic wand. It's a relationship between you and the mother. And once you have duty to the child, give to the child. Do not deny the child their due.
Right.
And don't use your wife as a reason to deny the child.
Yeah.
I hear him say he wants to reduce...
withdraw some services if you like.
Others. Please, don't do that. It doesn't serve your best interest. If this child, when this child grows and discovers that you've put them through this, you will suffer the consequences because you were not there for them. An uncle had also created some discomfort for Osman.
So he
denied him support.
He said he wanted to go to school, and he said,
and he rather had other priorities.
I can buy you this car or
so
this,
that you use it for commercial purposes.
And he says he got a chance to go to school, but now this uncle seems to need help. Should he help him? I think yes.
You should. Why would you want? I mean, it's not in your duty to be vengeful. That's why I said it's a difficult call. But that is why, if you subscribe to being religious, this is the best opportunity to exhibit the things you subscribe to. Many of us subscribe to things we don't submit to. It's important that, however discomforting it may be, this is the time to live it.
For you to show the Christ-like...
To show the godly tendency in you.
Okay.
That's why I started off by saying it's a convergence or a confluence of divinity and our humanity. And so our humanity is where there will be the pain, there will be all the stress, the discomfort, and our divinity is where we show graciousness. We are willing to say, well, I also offend others, and I'm forgiving. In fact, those who are Christian, in the Our Father, a line says, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So if you're not willing to forgive those who trespass against you, then how
your
else
trespasses will not be
do you want yours to be forgiving? There's a big picture of that in David and Bathsheba's story, where David goes out of his marital home and gets into, you know, this one night stand with Bathsheba, and that produces a child. But that child was rejected. But there was something when Nathan approaches David and narrates the story of a rich man who was spoiled with choice in terms of his fatling animals. He had a party for his friends, like this is a festive season, assuming it was a Christmas time. He went to his neighbor who had only one and took that forcefully and sacrificed that for his party. As soon as Nathan said that, you know what David's response was? This guy is not fit to live amongst humans. And Nathan says to him, you are the man I'm talking about.
So look yourself in the mirror.
Immediately, you know what he did? He now turns his face to the wall and begins to cry to God for forgiveness. And yet he was unwilling. He wanted to mete out justice. Sometimes we are quick to evoke justice against people. And so if it is about Gifty, punish her until she feels the pinch. But if it's about me, please forgive me for I need mercy. That's not fair. So we always must remember, when you forgive, you free yourself. But if you choose not to forgive, you put yourself in a cage. And a lady gave a very beautiful illustration of the prisoner and the warden. And I like that. Because, for instance, I'm a prisoner, you are the warden. Between the two of us, who has good sleep? So the one who is to forgive the other is the warden. And the one to be forgiven is the prisoner. The prisoner may be sleeping and sometimes snoring, depending on what kind of prison setting they are in anyway. If it's the Ghana prison, I'm not sure you get into that state. But the warden must stay awake so the prisoner does not have escape.
Right. Okay.
So it is. If you choose not to forgive, you know your stairway here, if you have a conflict with somebody in the office here, and they are descending and you are ascending, the moment you see them up there, you look at them and you have to start changing your emotional response, your feelings. You start thinking,
emotional
if they greet
adjustments.
It's a needless thing.
Okay.
It's a burden we carry and we bear that is too much to keep.
Needless.
Let's learn to forgive.
Let's learn to forgive, but that is not yet the final word. The final word, I want to find out from you how you deal with these personally. I mean, you're a counselor. You listen to people. You listen to people's stories, and then you advise them. And you've seen all of these stories. How do you personally, counselors like you personally, deal with some of these brokenheartedness or some of these betrayals that are natural in life?
Yeah, I mean, when you sit, it's a privileged place to be. You know, for someone to confide in you with respect to their struggle. They don't come to you because you're perfect. They come to you because you offer them assurance. And you ignite in them hope. Because one hopeless person will never go to another hopeless person in search of hope.
So you also always have to show.
You've got to. But I keep 3 different relationships. I have somebody, when I have a battle, when I have a struggle, I go to. He's more superior to me. He's more advanced in terms of the practice, as well as he's been through a lot in life. So he's my accountable person. He holds me in check. Then I have a friend, a number of friends, 3 of them. Victor being, Yao Pebi, Nanayo Feuku. These 3 friends are my friends that I can share my pain and my struggle with, because a friend loves you at all times. And they can speak to you in your face.
And tell you the truth.
Yeah. Then I have others who are younger than myself. They look up to me, but I also learn a lot from them by the feedback they give me. So these 3 relationships that I keep helps me. Otherwise, you would become a Superman or a Rambo or a Schwarzenegger.
Who is always fighting for other people and you can't fight for yourself. That would be such a tragedy.
It would be tragic.
But, Kevin Amos Annan, he's been with us through the year, and we just want to say a very big thanks to you today as we inch closer to the end of 2018 and as we go into 2019. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you,
and thank you
Gifty,
so much for helping
also.
all these people who have shared their stories with us. And I'm sure that you sitting out there who could not call, you found yourself in these issues that came up and you found the responses from a counselor. Thank you once again for coming.
Thank you also, Gifty, for being so gracious.
Kevin Amos Annan there helping us today to take you through relationships, mending those broken relationships as we go into a new year, a fresh start it should be. Do you have any upcoming programs that we should know about?
Not yet, but next year, God willing, one of the things we are seeking to do is to build boys who are believable.
Boys.
You know, the situation of boys now is precarious.
Oh dear.
I'm going to graduation ceremonies and I'm seeing the young guys behind. They are withdrawn. They are overwhelmed by the success of the young ladies. They can't approach them anymore. And it's scary dead. And so we need to begin to speak to the young boys to understand that the success of women and girls can be their success as well. They should not operate in a zero-sum mindset.
Okay.
They should understand that there's enough for everyone. And when the young girls are succeeding, they can also succeed alongside. Now, I asked somebody a question. What shall it profit our country? Gifty. If we build and empower the girls and create opportunities for them, and we disempower and destroy our boys, and they have no opportunity.
The boys will be fine.
Well, you see, that's the impression. The impression, and that's the state of the men today. Older men, look at how we talk about cervical cancer. We talk about breast cancer. We talk about maternal mortality. We talk about men's health.
Okay.
They are dying in the quiet.
Yeah, because of their egos?
It's not the ego. The impression has been created that the men can handle their issue.
Okay.
I recently shared a sermon somewhere. When men hurt, who helps them? Men are hurting out there. Look at the suicidal rates amongst males.
Okay, so this is what you're going to focus on next year.
So next year, I'm going to go to boys' schools.
Okay.
And if you're a boys' school chaplain or housemaster, my doors are open. I'll put out a number. Call me. I'm going to mobilize decent men. We don't want men who are going to mess up.
Okay, so let's put out the number and let's call it a wrap.
0244
0244
27
33
68.
There you go.
Build believable boys.
Okay.
And that's 2019.
So that's 0244 27 33 68. 0244 27 33 68. Call Councillor Kevin Amos Annan if you are a boys' school.
But you know, I have daughters. I'm a father of two daughters.
And one of his daughters actually we met by mistake. One of his daughters actually a friend to my sister, my kid sister. They met. They're just going to write an exam, and she got there. She said, "I want to go home."
Yeah.
I said, "Look, I'm going to find you a friend. I'm going to find you a friend who will keep you here." So I found her Jesua, who is your daughter, and they became. And I didn't know that he was related. It's a small world. That's why you need to do good. You need to do good to people. You need to forgive. You need to let it go. You need to keep yourself strong, keep your emotions strong, and by doing that,
let's use this tagline: hurt none, help all.
Hurt none, help all. Well, you can't help everybody, you know.
You should help all, not everybody. There's a big difference between
all and everybody. Okay. Well, Merry Christmas to you, everybody out there. Hurt none, help all. That's it. But keep your emotions healthy. It's important for 2019. All right, you're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty and Apia. We've just finished a session with Councillor Kevin Amos Annan.